From Macky Auditorium in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, it's eTown with part 2 of a special show with this week's guests. From Los Angeles, Madison Cunningham, author and climate activist Margaret Klein Salamon, and also from Los Angeles, Rufus Wainwright. I'm Helen Forster. Right now, please welcome our host, Nick Forster.
Thank you, Helen. Thanks, everyone. Welcome to Macky Auditorium, where eTown is coming to you live from the campus of the University of Colorado. We've got so much good stuff to bring you this week. Rufus Wainwright is here, originally from Montreal and New York, now living in Los Angeles. So much creative energy, great singer and songwriter, and of course, he has a new record called Folkocracy, and he'll play some songs from that. We've got author and psychologist and climate activist Margaret Klein Salamon is here. She'll be out to talk to us in a bit. But up first, a wonderful singer-songwriter from Los Angeles. Madison Cunningham is such a unique guitarist, really talented vocalist. She was homeschooled in Southern California. Her dad was the pastor of a church, and so she was playing and singing in church since she was a little kid. When she turned 18, she moved to Los Angeles and immediately got involved in the music scene there. Pretty soon she was in an Andrew Bird's band, and she was playing with Chris Thiele and others. She's put out a few records, the most recent of which won a Grammy last year for the Best Folk Record. She's so talented, and we're thrilled that she's here. Please help me welcome to eTown for her first visit, Madison Cunningham.
She's missing in action, you can read her like the Times, splitting hairs and giving air. She's guilty of the crime. Don't underestimate the murder your eyes can commit, killing me so tenderly when you won't just admit you're suffering. Gold rushing mercury, indoctrination spoon. Some by the way in mercy, some get taken out too soon. The rest of us run underneath like rain in the ravine, flowing with bloodline and pollution, trying to get clean. Life in all its fragility, leaving her imprints upon me, a riddle I cannot begin to guess. She's not inventing the wheel, she's not the first to feel like she's the only one coming up against herself. She's the spitting image of her old man in a spiral. The more responsibility, the more you crave denial. The wind speaks like an orator, some message from the wild, with the courage of a mother letting go of her first child. Life in all its fragility, leaving her imprints upon me, a riddle I cannot begin to guess. She's not the crop or the cream, she's not about to seem like she's the only one coming up against herself. How far, how wide, and how deep, how bad could it be to blow it off and run away from yourself? Waking up to a heavy cup, ambition drinking me, Helpless, I watch another death play out on TV. I render it down to size and sound till it comes as no surprise. To sleep all through the night and still wish to open my eyes. Life in all its fragility, the midwife of this urgency, a moment I may never get again. Oh, a moment I may never get again. Oh, a moment oh, a moment oh, a moment oh, a moment may never get again.
Thank you so much. I think you're awesome. This is maybe the angriest song I've ever written. Anger's an important emotion, you know? Constructive anger, that is. This is called Your Hate Could Power a Train. Examine the frame of the mind and its suffering, but no one could say how someone reclaims a little autonomy, sold it to the land, tossed it like seed, watched it grow hands and fold me underneath. Your name is a torch to the skin, and I've heard it spoken so many times it hardly sounds like a word. You're not to be crossed, but then you never were. You say God and man have always raced to be first, and I'm under the table, catching the access, left to be strung over 2,000 frets. What does it say about you? Your hate could power a train. And what does it say about me? Your love could get away with anything, with anything. Say now, playing as the limb on your family tree. I know the way they hurt you is the way you hurt me. Quietly, I'm losing my mind, losing my mind, losing my mind, and you don't seem to mind now. What does it say about you? Your hate could power a train. And what does it say about me? Your love could get away with anything, with anything. I'm not messing around, I'm ready to laugh about it. I don't worship the ground that's holding you. It's wrong the way you harm, but no one ever looks too hard at it.
Madison Cunningham, welcome to eTown.
Thank you.
So good to have you here. Man, oh man. I guess a little bit of background is in order. You grew up in Costa Mesa, California, homeschooled, as I mentioned. It was a church environment. Your dad was the pastor.
Yeah.
You were a teenage choir director. That's a bit of insight. Was it an evangelical kind of a church that you were in?
Correct. Yeah, it was an evangelical, like denominational church, and I was basically, I grew up I was born in that church.
Yeah.
I mean, not literally, but you knew that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I grew up there, and I left when I was probably 17, 18, and then started to pursue music outside of it. But that was the stage that I first played on and learned how to play and sing and play electric guitar and sing at the same time. So yeah, I got a lot of experience out of that.
You did the same thing that Rufus did as a teenager. You just said, no, this is what my family does. I'm going to take a left turn and go try something else.
Totally. Yeah, like it was so important to me to find my individuality in it. And it was really intimidating though, because the church that I grew up in they were very scared for me. They were all like, everybody was very much like, "Ooh, I wouldn't do that. You're going to get hurt." And they weren't wrong. I got hurt, but it was like necessary and good. And and I'm so thankful that I did. And it was a necessary risk, I think.
You have a little insight that not everybody does. And I wonder, because they were fearful for what would happen to you on the outside, did that mean that you were raised thinking that everybody else was kind of less than or bad or scary? Or was it divisive, in other words, your worldview?
Totally. And I shed all of it and found, my way out of it and into a different worldview. But certainly, I think it just preached a lot of fear towards other or something outside, or it made everything else other.
Which is a curiosity, because the fundamentals of Christianity is sort of more about,
it's supposed to be
we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Hey, let's shift gears and talk about music, because I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends who are amazing musicians, technically proficient at the highest level. And there is a danger that I perceive in their pursuit, in that sometimes their technique and their proficiency leads them to a path where they are playing to impress their friends, or creating compositions that are so complicated that they're more clever than soulful. And I get lost. I lose interest in their amazingness. Yeah. But it's like, I don't care after a while.
Yeah.
So you are doing something that is incredibly technically proficient, difficult, really hard to do, while singing and with odd time signatures that feel natural. I don't know how that all works. And you keep the groove. You keep this thing percolating to where it's complicated, but it actually feels so natural. I don't know how that happens.
That means a lot. That's what I strive to do, because I think, I went through so many different stages as a musician. There was so much to prove at the beginning, I think, to other people, but mainly to myself. I wanted to be virtuosic or something, or I wanted to be impressive. I wanted to play fast. And then I quickly got really sick of it, because I just started caring about songs. And the guitar just became a vehicle for that, and just finding the heart of what I wanted to say was so much more important than actually the vehicle itself.
Yeah, but you still impress your friends.
Well,
yeah,
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, I still want to, I suppose.
Yeah.
There's that. I feel like I'm fighting against that now at this age, because I've lived a little bit more life and there's more experience, and I understand heartache a little more. And sometimes, like 1,000 notes per minute doesn't allow you to feel heartache. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think I've just tried to just make space for a moment, and for other humans to be like, oh, I feel that, or I want to insert my stuff into it, I think that's really important.
Fundamental conundrum between head and heart, essentially.
Right, and the 1,000 notes in between,
Yeah. Hey, in case you just tuned in, you're listening to eTown. I'm here with Madison Cunningham. I imagine, and I don't know that this is true, but you construct your songs sort of around guitar riffs that you discover, and I know that I will sometimes just spend a long time looking for something and then finding something and then maybe recording it on my iPhone or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where songs start for me. That's usually the impetus is a chord progression or something that like kind of draws a melody out of me, and then I figure out what to say kind of from there. But yeah, again, guitar is just it's something that endlessly interests me. So I think that's why it remains to be the vehicle. Although I have to say, like the last 4 or 5 months, I've had a really funny relationship with it, and I've just played piano. So when I'm home, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Next time we visit, she'll say, "Yeah, I've kind of moved on from piano. Now I'm just doing nuclear physics. I'm just like decided to pick that up."
Or I'll just go to bass, probably.
Yeah, just go to bass. Yeah. You mentioned that you're older now at 27, and have more experience with heartache. This seems like a tough moment for a young person. Wars and climate and economy and politics and stuff. It seems like there's a lot sort of standing in your way as you look ahead. Is that how it feels?
I mean, I didn't live in any other generation except this one, so not much to compare it to, but I do feel that people in their 20s are having to just get far more serious about life. I think we're just confronted with it, especially with like the little TVs in our pockets, you know, we're always seeing stuff happening. And I think it's really hard to look away from just generally the disaster that the world is just kind of has always been going through, you know? I guess that's the question I always ask. I'm like, is it getting worse or do we just have TV now? I don't know.
Yeah. There's certainly lots more information coming your way all the time.
Yeah.
Technology is making it feel worse, I'm sure.
Yeah. But that being said, it's certainly just a really heavy time to be a young person and to like not know what the future really has ahead.
But you're lucky you've got music. We all are.
Yeah.
We were all lucky to have music in our lives. Rufus is coming out, and I understand you guys are going to do a couple things together. But meanwhile, we've got lots more to hear from you.
Yeah.
So would you please help me welcome back to eTown, Madison Cunningham.
Japan, tell me what's your mission here? Lord only knows it's been weighing on your mind. Eyes are like signals, traveling missiles, waiting on an act of God to level the pressure and the claustrophobia. You're trying to be the next original in a tribute band. Watermark, they're trying to own the image nature carved. Well, metadata won't support your cause. Did you expect anything more or less? No one's holding you back. Skies, ballet on ice, bombs exploding in rivers. The world's greatest song is one the mortals ever heard. Wired for sound, infected without petals falling at your feet. It's hard to pick out the imitation from the real thing. Out from the rest, the city sparkles like a sequin dress. You're sitting right across from a lifeless animation of yourself. And the dark days are getting smaller as you pull away a phone out from teacher calls to say you're gonna mess it up again, my friend. No one's holding you back now. Yeah, no one's holding you back now. The planet in orbit wanes. Some things are too hard to say out loud. No one's holding you back now. 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 Holding me back. Thank you.
Madison Cunningham, Los Angeles, California. Her record is called Revealer. She'll be out later on in the show.
Your visit to eTown is made possible in part by the Scientific and Cultural Facilities District, or SCFD, one of the largest cultural funding mechanisms in the United States, supporting nearly 300 organizations in the greater Denver area. And by our diverse family of NPR affiliates and community stations, plus college and commercial stations, as well as our international stations and podcast subscribers worldwide. Thank you for your continued support. As a reminder, for your viewing pleasure, there are over 2,000 videos on the eTown YouTube channel, where you can also subscribe in order to stay up to date with our latest offerings. You're listening to eTown.
Madison Cunningham will be back to play some more great music later in the show, and coming up, more from Rufus Wainwright. Before we get back to music, you know that since we started eTown back in 1991, we have regularly been featuring conversation and information about sustainability and climate change and renewable energy and all of that hippie stuff that we are so committed to, the E in eTown. And it's kind of an awkward combination. Oh, that was a great song by Mavis Staples. Now we're going to talk about how we're all facing inevitable decline as we destroy the earth. Let's get back to music. But we've managed to do it, and we've managed to stay committed to it because we think it's important, and it's actually all connected because it's all about community. It's all about how we treat each other, how we live, and music brings us together. So we're forging on. This week is no exception. Our next guest is all about combating the kind of paralysis and overwhelm that happens when you think about big issues and you're just one person. Margaret Klein Salamon is the executive director of the Climate Emergency Fund. She's the author of the book called Facing the Climate Emergency: How to Transform Yourself with Climate Truth. She's an advocate for kind of an all-hands-on-deck approach. She's also trained as a clinical psychologist, and so she's going to help us understand what all this feels like as much as anything else. So please welcome to eTown, Dr. Margaret Klein Salamon. Margaret, welcome. Welcome to eTown. Glad you could join us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. So I mentioned you were trained as a clinical psychologist. What led you to this shift into climate work?
So I had a freak out about the climate emergency about 10 years ago when I was finishing my Ph.D. in New York City. And then I had a kind of conversion experience to doing everything that I can to protecting humanity in the living world from this absolute catastrophe that we are careening towards.
And you didn't just crawl under the covers and curl up in a ball.
At first I did.
Yeah.
But I used my psychological tools and understanding to move through that and into action. And that's really what I'm trying to get us all to make that transformation.
Yeah. It's a lot like experiencing the sort of stages of grief, isn't it? This shock when we come to know. But for most people, it's also it starts with knowing, right? It starts with understanding the science and actually recognizing that it's true.
Yes. But I think that even though it's so hard, it's still incumbent upon us to look at what is actually happening if we want to live in reality and have a chance.
Yeah, in your book, Facing the Climate Emergency, you outline these sort of steps towards how one might transition from paralysis and being overwhelmed to understanding it. And maybe we can, like, the first one is, in fact, just getting the information, right?
Yes, understanding intellectually the scale and scope of the emergency. That's step one. And that's, not everyone gets there, but honestly, a lot of people stop there and just say, okay, we're doomed. Let me just block out this knowledge as much as I can and move on with normal life.
Mm-hmm. I mean, these issues are so huge. It's not easy to find a way to get sort of a foothold on anything that might be productive. In fact, when we started doing our radio shows and we were talking about these big issues, we began featuring stories, the Achievement Award stories about individuals doing good things in their communities that added up and made a difference, simply to try to remind folks that, yes, one person can, in fact, do good stuff. But it is so big. But you're right, facing the facts is the first step. Then comes basically fear and grief, right?
Yes, fear, grief, rage, terror, guilt, alienation is a huge one. No one understands. I'm all alone with this. People want to turn away from that, and they want to go into denial or numb those feelings. But in fact, in terms of psychological health as well as political efficacy, we should do just the opposite. And we should welcome those feelings, explore them, talk about them, and to ultimately use those painful feelings to motivate yourself individually and ourselves collectively into transformative action.
Yeah. I do think that this is a process that we can each personalize, and that's another part of your message, which is just make it real for yourself in your own life. But it's important to, as you say, to identify the emotions, process them, not run away from it, digest the whole thing. So I think it's important work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being with us. And if people want to get more, obviously her book is available here and elsewhere. And thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Margaret Klein Salamon. Thanks so much for being here on eTown. Director of the Climate Emergency Fund. I should mention, not to put too much of a happy face on all of this, but there is some good work happening locally too. There was a national competition for young people in college to do a design engineering project that would have an impact. Many, many people submitted their applications, their projects, and the team from the University of Colorado here won that competition for a project for a project. They are called the Green Grad Buffs. They won a national competition converting a coal-fired power plant in Denver to solar and wind energy. And they plan to harness solar and wind power for the plant's underground heating network, coupled with lithium-ion and thermal battery storage. And they're here today, these promising young leaders of climate change. Maybe, are you around? Can you stand up if you're in the neighborhood here? Yeah, these are Masters of the Environment grad students. Thomas Hill, Tatiana Hewitt de Bacelar, Patrick Fagan, Emily Cummins, and Andrew Bayless. Congrats to you guys. Good work. Welcome back, if you would, Rufus Wainwright.
I'm going to a town that has already been burnt down. I'm going to a place that has already been disgraced. I'm gonna see some folks who have already been let down. I'm so tired of America. I'm gonna make it up for all of the Sunday time. I'm gonna make it up for all of the nursery rhymes that never really seem to want to tell the truth. I'm so tired of you, America, making my own way home. Ain't gonna be alone. I got a life to lead, America. I got a life to live. Tell me, do you really think you go to hell for having love? Tell me, you're not for thinking everything that you've done is good. I really need to know, after soaking the body of Jesus Christ in blood. I'm so tired of America. I really need to know. I may just never see you again, or might as well. You took advantage of a world that loved you well. I'm going to a town that has already been burnt down. I'm
Rufus Wainwright. Welcome to eTown. You're such a good singer. Love hearing you sing.
Thank you.
You're a committed singer, man. No, seriously. I will say that we did a COVID thing. Rufus and I did a remote eTown session during the COVID shutdown. And during that time, I asked you about, well, who would you like to sing with who you really haven't gotten a chance to sing with yet? And you said, Brandi Carlile.
Yes.
And so I called Brandi's manager and I said, hey, there's this guy, Rufus. And And we ended up making a pretty cool thing.
Yes.
During the, as best we could.
Yeah, we
You
did
in
a
LA.
great song. Yeah, that's such a great. We did the Sandy Denny, Who Knows Where the Time Goes, which is one of the great songs, one of the greatest songs ever written.
Yeah, it was a beautiful thing, and of course that video is easy to find if you want to. But it was something that I'm proud to say is now something you and Brandi perform together when you cross paths. And
yeah, when she does something with Pink, and then she does that with me. So and then Joni comes out.
Yeah.
Wipes the floor clean.
Yeah. Well, celebrities, you've chosen a bunch of interesting people to record on this Folkocracy record.
Yes.
So that was a wide palette of folks, from Chaka Khan to David Byrne to Brandi Carlile and many others. Did you just wait to see whose numbers you had, or how did you do that?
Well, there was a little bit of that, and also, we live in Los Angeles, so it was also who was in town, which is one of the great perks of living in Hollywood, is that you can call up, Chaka Khan if you need to. I think anybody can. She's very approachable, actually. Anyway, so it was that, but I also kind of wanted singers who you didn't necessarily associate with folk to be on the record. People like John Legend and so forth, who just would give the material a little more of a slant,
Well, good luck with the Grammy nomination. Good luck with your frenetic and creative path.
Okay.
Welcome back, if you would, Rufus Wainwright.
Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, I'm bound away, cross the wide Oh, Shenandoah, I love your daughter. Away, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I love your daughter. Away, I'm bound away, cross the wide Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, you rolling river.
Thank you so much.
We'll be back with more from Rufus Wainwright after a short break.
This portion of eTown is made possible by the Bohemian Foundation, building stronger communities through the bohemian qualities of creativity and imagination. On the web at bohemianfoundation.org. And if you're curious about eTown's home base, eTown Hall, our beautiful solar-powered music venue, community center, and recording studio located in downtown Boulder, Colorado, you can learn more about it on our website, eTown.org. If you happen to tune in late and you've missed some of this week's program, the eTown podcast will have this episode and others, along with content from past shows as well. It'll be available for free in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast directories. You're listening to eTown.
I'm Nick Forster. I'd like to say hello to our listeners who hear eTown on stations like WNYE in New York City, on KROV in Oroville, California, and on KBAC down in Santa Fe, New Mexico. As always, if you'd like to hear more information about any of the stuff that's going on at eTown, so much is available online. You can find out how to get tickets to live shows, you can find links to videos, and you can learn all kinds of stuff about what's happening at eTown at eTown.org. Please help me welcome back to the stage, along with Madison Cunningham, Rufus Wainwright.
Now we're going to cheer things up a bit with the Murder Ballad. This is a song, an old folk song that I learned from that amazing album, Songs Our Daddy Taught Us by the Everly Brothers. When I first made this album and sang this song, my daughter was Viva. She was about 10 at the time, and just immediately gravitated towards the Murder Ballad, of course, and wanted to learn that. It's amazing how kids I think kids really understand how horrible the world is, and kind of dig it in a weird, whatever. They're quite morbid children. So, one positive thing. It's a good song. Here we go.
Down in the willow garden where me and my love did meet, as we sat a-courting, my love fell off to sleep. I had a bottle of burgundy wine, my love she did not know, and so I poisoned that dear little girl on the banks below. I drew a saber through her. It was a bloody knife. if I would murder that dear little girl whose name was Rose Connolly. My father sits at his cabin door, wiping his tear-dimmed eyes, for his only son soon shall walk to yonder scaffold high. My race is run beneath the sun. The scaffold now waits for me, for I did murder that dear little girl whose name was Rose Connolly.
So this last song is by a dear friend of mine who sadly is no longer with us, but the great Lou Reed. And it's trying to be happy. And I think it's coming out on an album. We recorded this. I don't think, has it been released yet, this record?
I mean, we should know.
We should know.
Right?
We should know because we are professionals. But yeah, it's a tribute album to Lou that his wife Laura Anderson put together, and yeah, it's called Perfect Day.
Just a perfect day. Drink sangria in the park, and then later when it gets dark, we go home. Just a perfect day. Feed animals in the zoo, then later a movie too, and then home. Oh, it's such a perfect day. I'm glad I spent it with you. It's such a perfect day. You just keep me hanging on. You just keep me hanging on. Just a perfect day. Problems are left alone. Weekenders out on our own. It's such fun. Just a perfect day. You made me forget myself. I thought I was someone else, someone good. Oh, it's such a perfect day. I'm glad I spent it with you. Oh, it's such a perfect day. You just keep me hanging on. You just keep me hanging on. just what you sow. You're gonna reap just what you sow. You're gonna reap just what you sow. You're gonna reap just what you sow.
Rufus Wainwright, along with Madison Cunningham. Special thanks to these guys and to our house band. We're going to do one more song. We want to thank everybody for being on the show. So glad we could bring these two together. Rufus Wainwright, Madison Cunningham. Special thanks to our house band, the hardworking eTones, who did a great job this show. Thanks to our guest, Margaret Klein Salamon, helping us understand the deeper implications of the climate crisis. Thank you, Margaret. Thanks to Helen Forrester. Thanks to our crew. This song is about making sure that despite all the chaos and challenges outside, you find your center. Hang on to it. I'm Nick Forster. Hope you can be with us next week right here in eTown.
Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither wildly as they slip away across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my open mind, possessing and caressing me.
This is a production of eTown.